Hey everyone, in this video I'm taking you along Spain's Costa Brava. Not the whole thing, of course, but enough to give you a real feel for it. The rocky shorelines, the coastal hiking trails, caves, beaches, countless coves, and a few charming towns. We'll visit places like Lloret de Mar, Tossa de Mar, Begur, Sagaro, the medieval town of Ullastret, San Miquel de Fluvia, Cadaqués, Cap de Creus, Port de la Selva, the Bay of Aiguablava, Tamariu, and a bunch of other stunning spots. The Costa Brava is a stretch of Mediterranean coastline in northeastern Catalonia, Spain, running about 162 kilometers from the town of Blanes up to the French border. The name Costa Brava translates from Catalan and Spanish as wild or ragged coast, and it really captures the raw beauty of this region, with its jagged shoreline, steep cliffs covered in pines and firs, plus countless scenic coves, pebble and sandy beaches, and picturesque villages and towns. In the southern part of the Costa Brava, you start to find wide sandy beaches, which towns like Lloret de Mar and Tossa de Mar are especially known for. Up in the hills overlooking the coast, you can even stumble across ancient castle ruins here and there, and if you head just a bit inland from the beaches, you'll discover entire medieval towns like Ullastret. Sure, they are not 100% authentic medieval, down to every detail, but you can still admire the old city walls, squares, and cathedrals from that era. The Costa Brava region is located in the province of Girona. It's one of Spain's top tourist destinations, drawing visitors in with its natural landscapes and well developed infrastructure. The area has a classic Mediterranean climate. In winter, January and February, temperatures rarely drop to freezing. Daytime highs are usually around 10-13 degrees Celsius, though it can get quite windy with storms, rain, and rough seas. But there are also warm spells when it hits 20 degrees Celsius, and everyone rushes to the beach to soak up some sun. In summer, especially July and August, daytime temperatures are around 28-31 degrees, with nights at around 25-26. Everyone takes their holidays and spends as much time by the water as possible. Some of the most famous resort towns on the Costa Brava are Blanes, Tossa de Mar, and Lloret de Mar. Also, a lot here is tied to the life and work of the legendary Spanish artist, sculptor, writer, and filmmaker Salvador Dalí. The Dalí Theatre Museum in Figueiras, his house museum in Cadaqués, and the Gala Dalí Castle, which he gave to his muse and lover. The Catalans themselves love this coastline for its picturesque coves, crystal clear waters, and the fact that it stays cooler here in summer than in southern Spain or even Barcelona. When August hits and Barcelona is unbearably hot, 33-35 degrees Celsius during the day, with nights barely dropping below 27 degrees, and the sea is so warm it's full of jellyfish, escaping up to the Costa Brava for the weekend, a couple of weeks, or the whole month is a pretty solid and tempting option for the locals. That's why the highways leading north out of Barcelona get jammed. On Friday and Saturday, traffic piles up towards the Costa Brava, and on Sunday, all the way back to Barcelona. And we are talking real serious traffic. You can end up driving for 4 hours instead of 1.5. Sometimes they even open up the opposite lane to handle the flow. Accommodation prices in July and August predictably go through the roof, and even locals can't always afford hotels on the Costa Brava during high season. So, a good workaround is to rent a room or an apartment on Airbnb, not right on the seafront, but a 10-15 minute drive from the beach. Alright, so the first town we're going to check out is Lloret de Mar. I lived here for 3 months, from January to April. Lloret is a favorite among folks from my home country because it's relatively affordable compared to the rest of the Costa Brava. And you've got all the region's highlights right at your doorstep. Wide beaches with beautiful thick sand, way better than Barcelona's. Coastal trails with absolutely stunning views of rocky coves with pines and turquoise water, and little hidden beaches you can only reach via the trail or by boat. There are two main beaches here, the main one, which is packed in high season, and the beach in the Fennels neighborhood, which is nicer but smaller and also pretty full. This is what Lloret de Mar looks like in winter. And in February, when you'd think the town is completely dead, they hold their carnival. Let's take a quick minute to check it out. People who've lived in Spain for years tend to be pretty critical of Lloret, saying that in winter it's empty, the town dies, it's too touristic, there are only two beaches, and in summer you cannot even move on them. But honestly, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If you're here, definitely walk the coastal watching paths. Just make sure to wear really comfortable athletic shoes, sneakers basically, and watch your step. There are a lot of stairs, you can get quite a workout, and the railings are not everywhere and they usually aren't high enough. So you need to be careful, especially if you are not used to it. It can make you dizzy at first. In summer, it's best to go in the morning before it gets too hot, or around sunset, but make sure you're back before it gets dark, or you might end up twisting your ankle out there. The trails are long, you can easily spend up to 2 hours walking out and back to town. Next up is Tossa de Mar. It's even more beautiful here. The water is that postcard perfect turquoise. You start to see more boats and yachts. There is a large beach and a few smaller ones too. Besides lounging on the sand, you can also wander through the old town, known as Villa Vella, a medieval fortress, the only one of its kind on the Catalan coast, and a designated historical cultural monument. You can explore its narrow streets paved with sea pebbles, check out the stone houses, and visit landmarks like the old church inside the walls, the Tossa lighthouse on the rocky shore with gorgeous coastal views, and the Tossa de Mar Museum. A couple of kilometers from Tossa, there is a great paid beach in a small cove called Cava de S'Infern. Fewer people, super scenic rocks and sea, and you can go snorkeling there too. And here is Playa de Tuna, about 3 kilometers east of Begur, a beautiful rocky cove known for its natural beauty and the restored white fishermen's cottages. The shore is pebbly and rocky, so water shoes are a good idea for comfortable entry. It's also a nice spot for snorkeling. There are showers, restaurants, and bars on the beach. Parking is limited, especially in high season, so it's best to get there early. This is Aiguablava, another small cove near Begur with a tiny beach and a few restaurants. Book a table the day before or even a couple of days ahead if you can. The restaurants range in price. The more affordable one is always booked well in advance. The one with the tables available is pricier. It's a popular anchorage for sailboats and motorboats. Parking is tricky here too, but honestly, that's everywhere all along the Costa Brava. I won't even mention it again. And here is just a single shot of the big beach in Sagaro, set in a scenic bay. As you can see, the number of boats and yachts keeps growing. Nearly every beach has kayak and paddleboard rentals, since these activities are super popular and perfect for exploring the calm coves and bays along the coast. And if you ever feel like a change of scenery and a bit of culture, visit the medieval town of Ullastret for lunch or dinner and a stroll. It's beautiful, peaceful, and almost tourist free. Now we're heading further north, all the way to the top of the Costa Brava, and arriving in Cadaqués. This town is so close to the French border that my Spanish mobile provider kept welcoming me to France. And you'll run into a lot of French visitors here. Be sure to explore the old town, you can walk the whole thing in one evening. Step into the cathedral and check out the viewpoint next to it. There are some lovely restaurants here. Again, if you want a sunset table with a great view, book ahead. And if you are renting a car, book that in advance too, at least 2 weeks ahead. A bit of personal experience. We explored the coastline on our own paddleboard. It's super convenient to carry around in the car, easily inflatable and deflatable. You can ride it with two people using two proper kayak pedals, or like we did with pedals plus a small motor mounted underneath. The motor only lasts about 45 minutes, but that's plenty for a quick trip, and it really helps when you want to go outside the cove and the sea gets choppy. Outside the sheltered coves and bays, it's rarely calm enough for comfortable paddleboarding. So, if just sitting on the beach and paddling out a few dozen meters isn't enough for you, this is a great option. I think a kayak might be even better. It's heavier, more ergonomic, and handles waves better than a flat inflatable board. And the ultimate comfort, of course, is a boat. Honestly, this whole area is worth getting off the beach and taking a boat trip. We also considered an inflatable boat, but it's way less practical to transport than a paddleboard, and parking at the launch point is expensive and doesn't feel all that secure. We explored coves and beaches and kept stumbling upon caves in the cliffs, big and small, and this one became our reward for being bold. Cova de S'Infern, or Hell's Cave. Just look at how beautiful it is. We were lucky enough to catch it at sunset, when it's probably at its most spectacular. No crowds, no queues, just your own private attraction. So enjoy, take photos, and stay as long as you like. Aside from water activities, you can visit the Salvador Dali House Museum. There it is, by the way. Another natural highlight near Cadaqués is Cap de Creus, the Cape of Creus. You can hike up to the lighthouse, which offers breathtaking views of the coastline, the coves, and even the cave Cova de S'Infern. Access to the lighthouse by car is often restricted, so read the signs and warnings carefully, or you might end up with a €200 fine. And in general, cars are not allowed everywhere. It's a nature reserve and they are trying to protect its pristine state. Not all the beaches are reachable by car, sometimes you have to park and then hike down to the beach. The landscape here is stunningly rugged, with beaches inaccessible on foot or by vehicle. The unique terrain is shaped by the strong, cold Tramontana wind, which causes erosion and creates incredible rock formations. We took a risk climbing down to some beaches from the road, but I wouldn't recommend it. It can be dangerous and might even be illegal. Another town we visited is about 20-30 minutes from Cadaqués, El Port de la Selva. In August, it was windier here than in Cadaqués, with bigger waves, and there is a great large bay for windsurfers. If you decide to explore the town, definitely pop into the cathedral. It's unusual and stylish, almost like a concert hall, and they often hold classical music concerts there. For a change of pace, you can drive about 20 minutes from El Port de la Selva to the town of Llançà. It's a bit less windy here and the sea is calmer. And the last but by no means least, honestly maybe one of the most unforgettable spots on the entire Costa Brava, the village of Tamariu. It was the last spot in our trip and it was the perfect grand finale to our summer adventure. So, what makes it so special? The beach on the south side, which flies a blue flag, is great for swimming because it has a gentle slope into the water. It's also popular with kayakers since there are plenty of caves to explore and with divers, though I didn't have personal experience with that here. The village is nested among incredibly scenic multicolored cliffs covered in pine trees. The water here is crystal clear. We checked out a few smaller caves and made it to the crown jewel of this spot, La Cova de Gispert. It's huge, almost 150 meters long and really tall. It faces east, so on a few days a year it's naturally lit by the sunrise. There are organized tours that take you there, but I'd recommend going on your own and bring a powerful flashlight to really take in the cave's interior. That's everything I wanted to share with you about the Costa Brava. I hope you enjoyed the video and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. See you next time. Bye for now.